Welcome to the next edition of Reset 365. We're so happy that you're here with us. And, let me take a point of privilege right now and just to pause and give thanks to my Creator for allowing me another opportunity to do His will on this side of heaven. I also would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to just pause for a second and just think about the family members and friends who we've lost recently during this coronavirus pandemic. So, if you will, with me, take a moment just to have a silence in honor of our family members and our friends who we've lost. Thank you. Well, I'm indeed excited and delighted to be here again. I'm Mel Capers, and I am your guest host for this Reset 365. Happy to have been asked, but I've got to tell you, I was wondering why I was asked to be here. And it just didn't dawn on me because the last two resets were done very well. The hosts were very well, and they presented awesome speakers, and they said, okay, Mel, we want you to do this as well. And I couldn't think, well, why me? Why did you want me to be a part of this? And I guess the answer is because I have a podcast. Oh, I have a podcast. Not only that, I have a podcast, and I've had each one of the members of Reset 365 as guests on my podcast. There I am, Capers Business Ventures Connect. That's my podcast. We have had fun, so much fun having these folks from Reset 365 join me. And I got to tell you, I'm overwhelmed of being asked just to be here with these folks who are putting this on. Got to send a big shout out to Vanguardian Global, who actually powered Reset 365. And just to be a part of this, I am so blessed to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me here. And listen, if you do want to join me on my podcast, check me out, cbbservices.com/podcast. You can be a guest on my podcast and we'll continue to have fun. But it's not about me. It's about Reset 365. It's about Volume 3. It's about right now. It's about let's talk about this journey that we're on right now. We've got some speakers that we are going to just take you on a journey that you are going to be so excited and delighted. But let me tell you this. We've got some housekeeping notes that I want to pass on to you before we get really going into it. Number one, we have what we call chat masters. The chat masters are those folks who are sitting by our chat, and they are going to be taking your questions and your comments and everything. So if you've got something you want to share with us and we want to engage with you throughout this next 90 minutes, please feel free to do so in the chat. Also, we want you to ask questions. So ask the question in the chat by putting the word question in all caps, and then ask your question. And we'll grab your questions and try to address it to each of our speakers during this seminar. Listen, I'm excited and delighted to be here, but it's not about me. It's about our speakers. And we've got the enormous group of people coming on who are going to share with you some tips and some resources, and we can't wait. So with that, why don't we get going? We'll get going with our first speaker. And our first speaker is Dr. Karl Miller. And as we virtually bring on Dr. Karl Miller, I'm going to read a little bio about Dr. Karl Miller and introduce you to who our first speaker is. Dr. Karl Miller is based in Atlanta, Georgia. He is a former NFL player. He is a motivational speaker and the pastor of Christian Life Center World. Listen, Dr. Miller is also a successful businessman. And in 1999, he established the Kingdom Resource Company. This is a company created to meet the needs of the housing demands in Atlanta, Georgia. Through his company, he has been able to reach others beyond the walls of the church. It is indeed a pleasure to have him here with Reset 365. And as I bring him on, let's say hello and welcome to Dr. Karl Miller.
Thank you very much, Mel. Great evening. Great evening.